Well, welcome
That's right.
everybody. We appreciate you joining us today on this course on food safety. I'm Andy Rozak. I'm the Executive Director at the Institute for Childhood Preparedness. And I'm very excited to be joined by my good friend Dave, who's going to be really a great resource for everybody. Dave's a 20 plus year expert in environmental health. He is a full-time environmental health officer, is out in communities every single day inspecting restaurants and childcare programs, and just brings a whole wealth of knowledge to the table. So Dave, thank you so much for being with us today.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for seeing me. Andy, I met him down in St. Croix helping with daycares. So the subject turned out to be really fortuitous for us both because he is really into daycare. I'm really into environmental health, and that's where our worlds collided.
So Dave is really the go-to source for me on all things food safety. He's been a great resource on just everyday topics, but in particular now with the coronavirus outbreak, I've been definitely picking his brain and getting his take on food safety and what we need to adapt to really adjust to this new normal that we're all living in for the foreseeable future with the coronavirus. So we're going to cover a whole bunch of things today. We're going to start off and really just give you some of the basic outline of food safety because we can't get rid of all the stuff that we know works on a day-to-day basis. So even though coronavirus has changed a lot of things, food safety is still very important and we have to go back to the basics. So Dave will talk and we'll get an understanding of basic elements of food safety. We'll talk about best practices and how to minimize the chances of a foodborne outbreak. We'll also talk about actionable steps that can be implemented to reduce the likelihood of transmission during the coronavirus. And we'll talk about an increased awareness of the coronavirus pandemic on food acquisition and preparation. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. Our objectives are to describe proper food handling techniques for potentially hazardous food and really for all types of foods, understand the types and causes of foodborne illness, identify safe food handling practices in the early childhood setting, explain basic principles of food storage and preparation, discuss the importance of food safety in childcare, describe at least 2 ways the program should modify food service during the coronavirus pandemic, and identify at least 2 risk factors that are present due to the coronavirus pandemic. So, we recognize that food represents a large portion of early childhood programs' budgets. We want to make sure that we're taking good care of our food, and there's a lot of unique situations that we're going to be facing now because programs have been shut down. In some cases, they've been shut down for a couple of months. And as we start thinking about going back and reopening, we want to make sure that we're going to do that in as safe a way as possible. On the flip side, for those programs that are still continuing to operate, I know there's a lot of questions out right now about food safety. What's the best way to make sure that we're not spreading coronavirus? What's the best way to make sure that we're preparing food in a safe manner and making sure that nobody gets sick? So we'll talk about all that today.